This is Carissa Hux's client SCD on Hannah. This is for Social Work 5305, Personal Practice Evaluation, Spring 2019, with Dr. Donna Cherry. Demographics and Assessment. Hannah is a 13-year-old Caucasian female. Currently, she lives in Asheville, North Carolina. Physical health. Hannah does have a diagnosis of cystic fibrosis. Her care is managed in Chapel Hill. 3 times a day, she has high-frequency chest wall oscillations. She was just recently taken off of the transplant list due to an improvement in her symptoms. During this study, she did receive a port to deliver IV antibiotics as well as have a nasal surgery to help with her breathing. Educational information. Hannah is in the 8th grade at a local middle school, but she is currently on homebound due to medical concerns related to her depression as well as her cystic fibrosis. Last year, Hannah made the AB honor roll, and this year her grades have slipped a little, but not too much. She's making B's and C's. Based on the North Carolina standardized testing, Hannah has very good academic skills. She scored in the 89th percentile in reading and the 84th percentile in math. Family situation. Hannah's family would be considered middle class or even upper middle class. Both parents are still in the home, with mom being a stay-at-home mom. Hannah has 2 older brothers, one of whom is still in school. This brother has autism syndrome. As reported by Hannah, there is some conflict with her and her mother. I think there's some arguing. However, there seems to be no issue with her father. Mental health history. Hannah was recently hospitalized for suicidal thinking, which will also addresses the point of lethality. She is currently being seen by in-home workers as well as individual therapists, as well as a specialist at Mission Health with a doctor that specializes in palliative care. Nutrition and appetite, there are no concerns. Hannah is a healthy weight and continues to enjoy eating. Current medications are Paxil, antibiotics, and mucus thinning medications. Presenting problems. The first would be her depression and suicidal thinking. The second that I'll be addressing is her lack of motivation and her incomplete assignments. To measure her time on task, I devised a log for every day of the week and asked mom to document how much time she spent on schoolwork. This is an example of a behavioral observation, a direct behavioral observation by a caregiver. I picked this versus self-observation as I felt like Hannah would not necessarily be honest regarding the amount of time that she worked. I felt like we also needed a column to include contextual information because her time might vary based on medical appointments and also her physical health for the day. I tried to maximize the reliability by having mom observe versus self-observation. And I also want to note that the mom was going to complete this log later in the evening, as Hannah reported that she often felt better later in the day versus first thing, so she wanted to be able to work on her schoolwork throughout the day. The range of the scores were going to be 0 to 90 minutes, as we had agreed that 90 minutes is a good goal for Hannah to be working on her schoolwork daily. Goal setting and case formulation. The baseline data revealed that Hannah did work 90 minutes per day, but only on the days when homebound staff worked with her. So she was not doing any work independently. This led me to modify the log to only document Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, days when she did not have individual help, as I felt like, based on her strength and vitality, to work 90 minutes with a homebound staff and then another 90 minutes would be too much. So we decided to focus on the days when she did not have one-to-one support. Case conceptualization. There are many factors going on with Hannah, including her current diagnosis of depression, and then of course cystic fibrosis. She is unmotivated to complete schoolwork because she reports she's just going to die anyway, and it doesn't really matter. Hannah struggles with her relationship with her mom. It appears that they argue about many things, and it possibly could contribute to her avoidance to school assignments. I will be focusing on increasing the amount of time that she does complete school classwork assignments. So our objective is going to be to work 90 minutes 3 times a week working on classwork assignments. And I will again note that the depression and feelings of hopelessness are being addressed by several different therapists at the same time. Evaluation design. This is a simple A/B design. The rationale is this is a very basic, simple design. It easily confirms the problem that Hannah is not completing assignments when she doesn't have one-to-one support. And it's also easy to show change over time. The disadvantages is it can be hard to determine that my intervention caused the change. The ability to transfer this to other students can't be determined, and I'll be unable to determine if long-term change took place. If I'd had more time, I would have liked to have removed the intervention and seen if the changes had continued. The intervention that we agreed on were daily text messages or check-ins from homebound staff with weekly breakfast rewards if Hannah had completed her work and met the goal of working daily. The rationale for this is that research supports daily feedback and the importance of relationship in motivating student performance. And I listed 2 articles that supported my intervention. Data analysis. When the client was available for learning, the trend was overall positive. She did have a stable baseline with 0 minutes being worked on. One of the interesting things to note about the data is the drop on every 3rd contact. That was due to the days of the interventions were taking, the days that I worked with Hannah were Mondays and Wednesdays. So then on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, she was expected to work independently, and consistently she did not work on Fridays. I feel like that this data also did not show the internal motivation that I saw increasing. While this data did not show it, sometimes she would complete the work right before I arrived to make sure that it was completed, but this would not have shown this because we were only measuring on the days that I was not there. The other thing that I felt like showed that she was becoming more motivated is that she was hospitalized a 2nd time during this trial. And while she was hospitalized, she actually reached out and asked me if I would send her assignments. Obviously, consistency was an issue in the study, which was hard to see that there would be many days where I could not work with her due to a hospitalization and a physical surgery that she had to go to as well. Conclusion. I feel like my literature relationship was strong. The strengths of the evaluation, I feel like I had a good design. I used research to develop the intervention, and I feel like I focused on something that was easily manageable. A weakness of the evaluation was the consistency and the data collected. What I would do if I could redo this is I would have measured assignments completed versus time working on assignments, because it was not able to truly reflect that sometimes she worked on weekends and sometimes she worked on assignments the same day that I worked with her. And I feel like overall what we were trying to do is increase her motivation and her ability to complete classwork. And I feel like that the way that I measured it did not truly show all of the improvements that we made. A reflection that I made after completing the study is this. In previous classes, it's often been discussed that the models and theories that we use are not as important as the rapport that we have with our clients. I worked really hard on developing rapport by spending a lot of time on the front end just getting to know Hannah before I began putting pressure on her to complete assignments and to complete tasks. I also spent a lot of time in the intervention just texting saying, how are you feeling? Have been able to do any work today? I feel like that led to a strength of a relationship which caused her to want to do the work and work with me. The other thing that I feel like I learned from this is the importance of therapeutic models. Hannah has been in traditional therapy for several years, and seeing her in the home when the therapist arrived, I saw a lot of eye rolling, and she actually confided in me that she did not really like the therapist and did not want to do therapy. A personal belief of mine is that oftentimes traditional office talk therapy cannot be as powerful as something, for example, as animal-assisted interventions or play therapy. I wish that someone could work with Hannah using some alternative methods so that she could feel relaxed and comfortable enough to truly express herself. And that is the end of my SCD. Thank you for your time.